So, welcome to another Train Tip Thursday from Messing About with Models. Today I'm going to show you how to do hills and mountains very cheaply and very easily for your model railway. Stick around to see how it turns out. Hi, welcome back. Today I'm going to start by doing some scenic work on Loch Doune, my micro layout in a box. Obviously the baseboard is a fairly flat surface. In reality, of course, there were lots of ups and downs and gentle undulations and of course hills and mountains. So what I'm planning on doing today is adding some variation in height to the layout, as much as I can considering the small size of it. What I'm going to be doing is I'll be using polystyrene, the sort of packaging that you get with things like computer printers and other items like that. Solid but very lightweight, and it's easy to cut and prepare. So let's get on and have a look at what we're doing. Of course you can use virtually anything. I've seen bits of insulation board used, scrunched up newspaper, and of course the famous old chicken wire. You can just use what you've got to hand really, and I've got some polystyrene packaging, so I thought I'd use that. Now polystyrene is obviously quite messy when you cut it up. You can get these hot wire cutters, and some of them seem to be relatively cheap, but I'm not quite sure how effective they are. I've not really tried them. Perhaps you could let me know down in the comments below. I'm just using a regular craft knife to cut off sections to be the sort of right sort of shape for our model. Like I said, we're not necessarily going to be doing great big hills, etc. on this layout, but we do want to give a bit of a feel that it's coming in through a cutting and it's not just a level, flat billiard table feel to the layout. So once you've got your bits of polystyrene, you just need to sort of place them, put it in place, and then see how they look, and then just roughly cut them a bit more if you need to. Maybe take a little bit off, add little sections to sort of fill in. It doesn't really matter at this stage quite what it does. Once you're happy with where the polystyrene is going and the sort of heights that you're getting, next step is to glue it down to the layout. I'm using the good old standby of Yoo-Hoo contact adhesive, and that works really well for most things. So we'll glue that in place and then wait for that to dry. And then the next stage is to use Modrock. Modrock's a sort of brand name for type of bandage with plaster of Paris already impregnated into it, and it's often used for modelling purposes, for shaping and forming hills and stuff like that. I found these on eBay and it was just under £2 for a pack, which by the looks of it should be more than ample to cover the amount of space that I've got, which, because Loch Doune is a relatively small layout, it's not going to be a lot. First stage in preparing the Modrock is to cut it into strips, roughly about 1 inch wide, maybe a little wider, depends on exactly the sort of setup that you're planning on having and the area that you're looking at covering, and soak each strip in a bowl of water, just to sort of wet it, and then place it gently in the location that you're looking, and then keep doing this, overlapping the bandages slightly and squidging the wet plaster around a little bit as well to just smooth over any edges, and it's just going to sort of mould everything together and provide a fairly hard surface there for you as well. Some people say you should do this stage before you lay the track because you don't want to get plaster of Paris on the track. Some people say you can do it after the track and you should cover up your track, but it's entirely up to you as to which way round you do this. And then once you're happy with the effect that you've got and the so on, all you need to do is to leave it to set it needs to be allowed to dry completely, so it's at least 24 hours, and probably better to leave it for 48 hours before you do anything with it. Once it is fully dry, you can then start working on the scenic surface. I'm actually going to paint the surface sort of a muddy brown, so that when I come to apply my grass, maybe use a bit of flock, maybe use some static grass to it. If there are any bold patches, it will just look like there'll be some sort of brown earth or soil underneath. So it's not going to show through as white if anything falls off like that. Even though it's a hard surface, you can still break through holes into it to plant trees, and of course stick anything like bushes or any other sort of scenic items on there. We don't want to overpower Loch Doune, so we're probably just going to have some trees and some bushes and a bit of grass area along the grassy bank. As you can see, the end result looks really good. The next stage is to get some grass and bushes and trees on here, especially in the cutting area. And so it will start looking like a real railway has cut through the contours of the land to reach the station. So don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time. Bye.